Well, hello friends. We are making our way through the marketing mix. We have done products and services. We have established how to make and create a profitable pricing strategy. And now we're looking at place or distribution, delivering the customer value. I always like to start off with a case. And how many of us can remember Blockbuster? Blockbuster owned the industry of video rentals and then even DVD rentals. Started in Dallas, Texas. Again, Dallas, Texas, great test marketing, and a lot of entrepreneurs, we know why, flock to this area, Dallas-Fort Worth, because it's such a great economy. 1985, you gotta love that. That's where David Cook opened up his video rental business. Now, in this decade, when video were, I should say VCRs became very affordable at like $400 to $500, and every home wanted one, there were a lot of what we would call mom and pop shops of video rentals. And so they would be kind of located in, older retail strip malls. And so it was, you could make, again, a pretty good living by owning a video store. Now, the problem with the mom and pop stores was the movie you wanted. Let's say you wanted to watch Francis Ford Coppola's, no, I should say The Godfather with Marlon Brando. Okay, and you went to the movie store that you had, and they said, "Oh man, it's been rented, but we can earmark it for you." And this is like a Friday. You can get it back on Monday. And so you had to wait the weekend. That's just what we had to deal with. We didn't have on-demand entertainment. Well, David Cook built this business on database technology. Again, kind of a disruptive technology because databases were just coming into the forefront. So he had lots of inventory in central Dallas. He had a big warehouse, and he had 12 stores in the Dallas area, and he basically looked at geographic preferences. South Dallas probably was watching something different than North Dallas or far North Dallas or West Dallas. And so he could get you that movie. He said, "Oh, you want The Godfather? Okay, I tell you what, come back at 4 o'clock. You're there at noon, and we've got one already reserved for you." Hey, just a few hours versus a few days. That was huge in 1985. So we really understood the customer preferences, and Blockbuster grew and became a huge success. It became so successful that Wayne Huizenga, who is a billionaire, he's passed away. In the 1980s, he owned the Miami Dolphins and companies that would just buy out small growing companies. And so he purchased it. 1990s, Blockbuster was all the rage. Again, this was a company that literally owned their industry, just like Kodak did. All right, and just like Sears did, which we're going to talk about today. They're they're closing in on a $10 billion valuation, and that's not bad for renting out $3 movies. 60,000 employees, 9,000 stores. There was a Blockbuster Bowl, which was a college bowl game. They were trying to get into different areas, venues. They had a Blockbuster Music that really never took off, trying to, on the store, retail-based music stores like Camelot. That's a great name. So we're going through the 80s, the 90s, and now comes the 2000s. Blockbuster could have purchased Netflix for $50 million. It's a $10 billion valuation, so for $50 million is basically like you handing me maybe $5 from your account and say, "Hey, Randy, I'll take that. I'll take your watch from you for $5." That's how powerful Blockbuster was. There's a great article in Texas Monthly that came out in the summer, and it was based on Reed Hastings, who was the CEO, the startup of Netflix. He was the co-CEO. They were in trouble. Netflix came out with their video rentals, basically via mail. And so they had also had a lot to do with your movies on demand in the 90s in different hotels. And so they were still trying to figure out their company, but they had an idea that they could really do online better, and so they had the online video rentals with no fees, and so you would basically pick out what movies you wanted, it would be mailed to you, and you just mailed them right back. Blockbuster didn't know how to get into that business, so they thought maybe buying Netflix would be a good idea. They could handle the online unit of this business. They fly into Dallas, Texas. Netflix still has their Dallas headquarters. They literally used the group from Netflix. I believe it was six of their officers. They missed their plane. They're California guys. And so they said, oh my gosh, man, we got to be in Dallas by 11 a.m. because we have a noon meeting. They go to a airport, maybe it was John Wayne Airport in Orange County, and they rented a private jet. It was Vanna White's private jet, Wheel of Fortune Vanna White, because basically people own their jets, but they always lease them out. Fly into Dallas, get some street tacos to eat, roll up to the building, which Blockbuster is located, and have the meeting with John and Tikico, who is the CEO of Blockbuster. And so they're trying to pull out their numbers, and Blockbuster just had a fresh batch of new cash of, like, I think $200 million just in cash because they did an extra stock offering. And so they're looking at it, and John, the CEO of Netflix, is just not impressed with he's the CEO of Blockbuster, is not impressed with Netflix at all. And so Reed Hastings says, look, let's cut to the chase. John said, okay, let's do that. I got another meeting at 2 o'clock. How much would you want to sell your company for? Now, Netflix agreed somewhere around $30 million. And so Reed pulls out, he's an entrepreneur, and he just pulls out, how about $50 million? And the CEO of Blockbuster, John and Tikico, laughs at that offer. He just says, are you insane? You need to leave. So the officers, CEO, vice presidents of Netflix, roll out of Dallas, get back into their plane, and all the other officers of Netflix go, we're dead. Nobody wants us. And Reed says, I know exactly what we have to do now. And they go, well, what are you talking about, Reed? We're going to kick their butts. We're going to own this industry. He was that mad at that meeting at what happened. Well, did they win? Let's see. There it is. The monthly online orders for DVD services, $5 a month. And whatever DVDs you want, you get. I don't know if anybody remembers that's how Netflix did. I think they still actually have this service. No late fees. Ooh, now that was a dagger in Blockbuster's operating system. If you ever remember renting a video from Blockbuster and you were late, you got a late fee of like $2. And unless your son or daughter or friend was the manager at Blockbuster, you did not get that money back. And so that's 30% of profits for doing what? Absolutely nothing. Just raking in money. So they had to drop that. Blockbuster had to compete with Netflix. They could have bought them now. There's not for sale. And so all of a sudden 30% of profitability from Blockbuster goes away because they say, hey, no late fees, never. 2007, online streaming devices, Netflix comes out. Now this was a huge amount of money to do. This is not cheap, and it was not easy for the infrastructure to have. Remember, my friends, smart TVs were introduced in 2012 to 2013, so there's basically streaming on your computer. And 2007 was when the iPhone came out. So those are some really numbers of dates that you kind of want to keep in your brain or write down. That when did things change so much for the internet? Well, 2007 iPhone was released. 2012, 2013 smart TVs are introduced. So they're doing something that's completely out of the normative. 2007, same year. Okay, they're going hardcore technology. Netflix, Blockbuster says, you know what we need? We need more stores. Brick and mortar stores. Top management says, you know what, that online stuff, it's going to go away. Nobody cares about that. Redbox, as Redbox was introduced years later, Blockbuster could have done all of this. No, we don't want to have it. The board of directors of Blockbuster Had people on like Carl Icahn, who was an older investor. He was a takeover artist. And so you have your board was in their 70s in this area right here in 2007. So internet was just nothing they were used to. They were very much used to brick and mortar retail. 2008, they're bleeding. They're just basically hemorrhaging money right in here. They're liquidating assets and assets and assets. The Blockbuster Music sold. The Blockbuster Bowl is sold. Wayne Huizenga has passed away, and I don't know if the company went into another company again. And it's just massive buyouts that the companies are buying each other, and so filing for bankruptcy right in this era. Interesting. This pretty guy right here is Jack Welch. Now, we've talked about him. He was the CEO of General Electric, took General Electric from a dying company in the 90s and made it into the powerhouse. He just died this year. This was one of his sayings: if the rate of change on the outside exceeds the rate of change on the inside, then the end is near. Basically, if your environment, that's why we do our marketing plan, our situation analysis, if that is changing extraordinarily fast, and of course today it's changing extremely fast in March 2020 with this pandemic, businesses are racing to figure out what to do, and you're not changing on the inside, then the end is near. You're just going to go out. So, exactly what happens to Blockbuster. Dish Network bought it, purchased it, in bankruptcy. They're going to use the brand name. It was going to be a streaming service, but at this point nobody even cares about it. Today, an organization that owned their industry is non-existent. I just checked on the internet. There used to be a store in Alaska. It's gone. There is a store left in Bend, Oregon. I should have capitalized that, which is a beautiful city. It's about 80,000 strong, of course, in the 2010 census. And it looks like a very millennialistic city because you can hike. There's a beautiful Deutsches River that goes through it. So much to do for young people. And then you're thinking, well, why would a Blockbuster be where a millennial town is? Maybe it's just for nostalgia. Netflix, what it did, pricing strategy. They kept increasing subscribers. They knew they've hit the critical mass. There's 160 million subscribers worldwide. 90 million in the United States. Their growth rate was supposed to be at least 10 more million this year. And I wonder how many people are hitting Netflix up right now and joining who just said, you know what, I don't want that. All of a sudden they're home. They want to have some sort of enjoyment, entertainment. Interesting, 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 my friends. Delivering customer value. Let's keep looking at how we get our entertainment. Good question. Will there be cable TV in the year 2030? How many of you now have cable TV? I mean, it's a hard sell. Or AT&T's Uverse. Anytime you get on the phone with AT&T just to question your bill, your phone bill, they want to sell you hardcore Uverse. Interesting how we get that. All right. Anybody have this? This is an old digital antenna that actually hits digital waves. I got conned into this in the early aughts of a new streaming service that basically was like, it was different than cable. It was like Dish, but instead of a satellite, it uses an antenna. Company went out of business, but I got all the hardware free, but I can stream, I can get all of my network channels for free. I'm an Apple TV person. Now, Apple TV is just something you buy and you put it on your TV. If you're an Apple user, if you have an Apple phone, this is just perfect. Everything syncs up to here. It's a one-time fee, and you run it through your internet, and literally your TV is now your phone. You have all the apps. You can stream everything that you want to through it, and you don't even have to get off the couch. That little button, of course, is Siri, and just Siri, play me. Again, The Towering Inferno with Paul Newman and Steve McQueen. It will find that movie from the 1970s and ask if you want to rent it, or it will check if it's on any of your services. So, there's your Amazon Fire Stick. Just jailbreak that and watch any movie you want. I'm sure people are doing that. Google Chrome inserts. Of course, now everyone's running to get their other subscriptions. Prime. YouTube. Now, this was a mistake that YouTube hit their branding. It was called YouTube Red. YouTube Red. And a lot of people can, misconstrue that and confused it with RedTube, which is just a site you do not want to go on. Redbox. I guess people don't want to hit the Netflix. You can get earlier rentals, but to me, standing in line outside a Walgreens or a Kroger, it's just too much work when you can just sit on the couch and get anything you want. What is it going to look like? Everyone now is streaming. Every channel, CW network, ABC, NBC. If you don't watch out, you can spend $10 on a monthly basis for a ton of networks. So very, very easy. How does cable survive? Time Warner tried to buy Hulu few years ago, because they were just going to destroy it, because it was killing. Hulu, basically you watch your favorite TV show, and so if it airs on a Tuesday, at Wednesday morning you're able to see the entire episode. And if you have the premium service, you don't have to watch any commercials at all. Interesting things, my friends. We're really going to look at retailing in this unit and see what's happened to retailing. Of course, wow, what is happening at this moment in time? So many cities and so many counties throughout the United States are being asked to shelter in place, which means please do not go out unless you're going to the bank, the grocery store, the pharmacy, or having goods delivered. The malls have closed down. It has been a beating for the last 3 years in the brick and mortar retailing environment, and it's a bloodbath right now. So, retailing, again, businesses, that's where we purchase our products, the shopper marketing, of course, the in-store promotions. We know that on a regular retail environment, when everything is fine, we make our decisions almost at the counter, right? 40 to 70% of all purchasings are made in the store. I like that. That looks cool. Yeah, I think I want to get that as well. So, if we're going to talk about retailing, shouldn't we talk about Walmart? Absolutely. They are the beast of retailing. Now, I have not seen a Walmart close yet. It's just I haven't seen it. So, they are, when I say close for this during this pandemic, they are the world's largest retailer. They're the world's largest private company. Between them and Amazon, it's a pretty good fight right now. $500 billion in annual sales. That's what makes them the biggest. And they're also one of the world's largest employers, just by sheer size. In one day, they will crank through $1.3 billion in sales. That's pretty amazing. If you think about that number, that is the annual gross domestic product of 22 countries, just that number alone. Every hour, there's $37 million in sales. Every minute, there's $35,000 worth of profit. And now, this was as of the end of 2018. There's 12,000 stores worldwide. 90% of Americans will live at least no more than 15 minutes from a Walmart. Doing businesses in 27 countries, 100 million weekly customers. If you think about that number, in 3 weeks, the total population of America, just the sheer numbers, have basically shopped at Walmart. If Walmart were a country, it would be the 19th largest world economy. Wow. Every percentage of US dollar is 8% at Walmart. So amount of every US dollar spent, 8%. Percent of purchases for families, again, they're really knowing their customer well. Those at less than $40,000 annual income, we know 42% of our items, consumables, after your rent, after your car payment, after those basic fixed costs, basically everything is going to Walmart there. Of course, 80% of all suppliers are located in China. Will that change? I think it's going to have to change. The supply chain has got to move, the global supply chain. It cannot be focused in one country. Now, we're not picking on China. We're just saying any country cannot have that much now that we know the pandemics. And friends, this pandemic, this will not be the last pandemic in your lifetime. This is something that we're just going to have to manage and literally get used to on on some sort of a basis, every 3 to 5 year basis. So China cannot hold it all. It has to be spread out just for the welfare of the world's economy. The primary target, we've talked about that. Doesn't that look fun? Don't you want to be in that line right now? That's a Christmas line. 52-year-old woman with a $50,000 annual household income. That's their target. Again, what is their position in the marketplace? Right there. It's been beaten into our heads. Always low prices. Are they negotiators? Hardcore. They have tremendous power in the retail chain. They have the power over the manufacturers. You'll make this amount, you'll make different sizes for us, we'll buy this much, and we'll buy it at this price. But if you want to become a vendor for Walmart, they will demand your lowest price as a supplier of products or service provider as well. If you're selling equipment that cleans the floors. My older brother worked for a company a few years ago that sold these industrial cleaning machines that basically, your scrubbers and your sweepers for your floor. And Walmart said this, look, this is what we'll pay for it. And we have the right to look at your accounting books and go back 5 years. If you've made a deal with anyone else for a lower price, we get that price. Yeah. So if you're going to deal with Walmart, make sure that you don't try to sell a product at a low cost for a friend or for a small business that says, hey, we'll give it to you at this price. Walmart will go ahead and dictate that they get it at that price as well. Very interesting, very, very big corporation, my friends. What's the growth of Walmart? You know what? They're really trying to get into organics. And as a person who eats a lot of organic, vegan food, they've got a pretty good selection. They really do. Now, this is big. For years, they just ignored online growth because, again, their model was get it in and people are coming to it. Back in the 90s, Amazon literally fulfilled their online purchasing. So that was the thinking back then. Kind of like Blockbuster. We're just focused on brick and mortar retail because we've got such a huge business. Well, they're trying to grow that. A couple years ago, it was 2%. It's doubled to 4%. Their growth rate now is 30%. If you have been on the Walmart website, it's pretty good. It's not like Amazon's ease, but I just bought some tax software this morning, and their next day shipping was $5, and it would have been free had I bought more on there. So I think they're really trying to compete in this arena much harder than they ever have. Certainly fashionable. Some of the stores have been updated. It's not like those old stores of the 90s. Organic produce, always maintaining the low price value proposition. Does Walmart have an effect on other retails and businesses? Like even car businesses? Yes, the Walmart mentality. What is the lowest price you're going to get me? Is that the lowest price? So that's why if you're doing your own retail business or online business, again, or service business, we cannot compete with Walmart's pricing. We have to do different things and different services, and Walmart is looking at that as well to be more differentiated. Retailing is such an important segment of our economy. It's $5+ trillion just in retail sales on a given year. 80% of, almost 90% were conducted in the traditional, there's Macy's flagship in 34th Street in New York City store. In retail purchases, that's where people bought. Only 12% online. I think we are at the pivot point right now. That number is definitely going to start trading places. We're going to go much more online. We're doing it right now, and this number's falling. This number's growing. Now we do know that we always go to the internet. We always go to Google. It's called the ZMOT, the zero moment of truth, where people start that search process. And again, Google makes the majority of their money through their ad searches. So your company can be first in line on a Google search. The retail apocalypse. What has happened? How, my friends, did giant organizations like Sears, all right, Macy's is still around, but it's going down, Payless, The Limited, just ignore the online environment and what was happening to it? Since 2017, these are the major closures that we have seen. Radio Shack is a Tandy company. That is a Fort Worth business. If you're ever taken a class at our Trinity River campus, and I suggest you do because it's certainly nice, when everything's safe again, that was the Radio Shack building, which we purchased in, I believe, 2007 for $300 million. And then we had to outfit it for classes. So basically, the downtown campus is a $1 billion campus when we've added some more for our healthcare. 1,000 stores. Well, I don't know if there's a Radio Shack even operating today. If there is, their headquarters is in a warehouse somewhere in Fort Worth operating. And this was a giant company. There was a Radio Shack on every corner, just like there was a Kodak photo mat in every shopping center. Look at what has happened. Just so many. These are the store closures. That was 2017 when it finally hit that things were not doing well at all, and it has not become any better. This is probably the reason. 2020, if I go right back to our store closures, for all retailers was supposed to be the decade. We're all in. We have got to do everything possible to keep our customers coming into the physical retail stores. We've got to make them look better. We've got to have better service, better quality of products. And when this event came in, this is definitely a death blow to so many retailers right now. And why? Well, if we've talked about Walmart, we have to talk about Amazon. Jeff Bezos, his wife. Jeff Bezos was a stockbroker in the 1980s. He was just frustrated with it. He kept telling major companies that the internet is going to be the biggest game changer we've ever seen, and most companies ignored him. And so he said, you know what, forget it. Quit his job, went back home, I believe obviously somewhere in Washington State, went to his parents' home, started Amazon from his garage, he and his wife, and it was just a book selling organization. He said, "This is the ground that we're going to build everything else upon." And look at that today, 136 billion in annual sales. Okay, that number is rising. 372 million in daily sales, but their growth rate has been just phenomenal. So this number today, again, is probably closer to 200 billion. So they're closing fast on Walmart. Their growth rate is tremendous. I got a tremendous growth rate overseas as well. 53% growth rate of all online sales. All of the growth basically online. The tremendous growth has come through Amazon. How did major retailers ignore them for so long? That was the question. There's our Radio Shack, gone. It's really specialty boutiques, gone. The Limit, gone. What happened? What happened, my friends? Amazon didn't post a lot of profits for almost the first 20 years of their existence because Bezos and company and directors said, everything we do has to be reinvested. We have to reinvest. We have to make it so simple. We have to be the most customer-centric organization in the world. And so we need much better ordering systems. We need great delivery. We need great customer care. You know what? If you want to return something at Amazon, they don't even question it. I haven't ever found that. You can now go to Kohl's and just say, hey, I didn't like this. They can basically bring up your order and say, we'll take it from here. And you should receive your credit back, in the next 2 days or 3 days. Very, very interesting, my friends. Amazon is huge. And when you're the world's most expensive, wealthiest person, well, he and his wife, Mackenzie, you can do a lot of things. They look at pain. How can we solve somebody's pain? Amazon Go. Now, when you go to the grocery store on a pre-pandemic, what is the pain that you see? What's the pain that you feel? Yeah, you get all your items. I like Kroger. I like Whole Foods. I like a lot of different places. And all of a sudden, you got to check yourself out, which is just a beating sometimes, especially if you have more than 10 items, or you've got to wait forever in the grocery line, and then you watch, maybe that 17-year-old checker just throwing your produce and everything you have down to the bag person who's just bagging as fast as they can. It's a very unpleasant experience sometimes. Hey, some stores do it better. Whole Foods, Central Market. does a very nice job. Some people, they're just trying to get you through. That's the pain. So Amazon, this is their think tank right in here. This is their new product going forward. It's interesting, going from online into the retail field. Amazon Go. Let me see if I can get that movie coming back up. Here we go. So you go in, you just tap your little phone, you grab it, and you go. So you have to have the Amazon app, and it's already put into your account. Isn't that pretty sweet? Again, tremendous amounts of artificial intelligence going on right here. Okay, grab what you want. Wait a second, maybe I don't want that. Can I put it back? Absolutely. This is in Washington. It's been tested for the past 2 or 3 years. Hopefully, I mean, there is an idea that will come to Dallas very soon. They're looking at California. So you take it. If you didn't like it, you put it right back. And again, there's just thousands of sensors going on during the time. And it takes it right off your account. And maybe if I didn't do it wrong there. There we go. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. So, that's exactly, again, wow. Amazon does tremendous algorithms. Sells those with the government, by the way, too. But don't worry about that. They're just watching everything we do. Walkout technology. Yes, has there been theft? Of course there has been. This is still piloting. But wouldn't that be amazing just to go in and grab it and you're gone? They also have concierge service where they're helping you find what you want. Oh, what do you want for dinner tonight? Okay, let me help you make some vegan quesadillas. All right. And if you have a lot of groceries, literally there's a concierge service that takes it to the next level. They'll take all your food out to your car and bag it for you. Or you just drive your car around, actually, and you're done. How cool would that be? There you are. You check it in, you get your stuff, and you're good to go. Amazon is looking at a lot of different things to come after. So it's going to be interesting. eBay. Should we mention eBay in here? Absolutely. $90 billion in product sales. Now, eBay is just the go-between. They really don't carry the items themselves. They connect the buyer and the seller together. And you'll find many Amazon sellers are eBay as well. $10 billion in revenue. So that's their products. That's what they get out of it. They have 175 million buyers, 25 million sellers, 250 million users, 370 million app downloads, 1 billion products have listed on eBay. eBay has made, if you're thinking of, well, what kind of business can I get into right now? If you're an eBay super seller, power seller, which means you're buying most of your product, hopefully from Alibaba. Hopefully they can still ship. But you're doing that very well. 42% sales are the United States, 58% are outside the United States. 1,000 eBay millionaires in the last 5 years just in the United Kingdom. It is an interesting way to have a really good business idea. Again, eBay gives you the platform, PayPal, Apple Pay give you your financing, and of course you can ship through whatever you want. USPS, UPS, Federal Express, you choose your shipper. They really do a good job of helping your business grow. I think there's where it comes to, my friends, in the retailing. It's Walmart versus Amazon going forward for the next foreseeable future. Faster, 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 get that thing out. I know if you're an Amazon employee, it's not the safest working conditions, but we've got to get that product to that house. And I think eBay is somewhere, hovering around your areas that we're going to go, either on the brick and mortar or online, because these companies have built up a lot of trust that I know I'm going to get that product. That's going to stop for the part 1. I'll come back with part 2 of the video, and we'll look at more retailing and finish this marketing mix piece up.